right. Hello everyone and welcome to the first video series of the Brown Girls Guide to Politics blog. I'm so excited to have as my first guest Minority Leader Stacey Abrams, who is running for Governor of Georgia. And I will get it out that I'm a huge Stacey Abrams fangirl. So just the fact that her team even gave me this time is just so amazing. So thank you so much, Leader Abrams, for allowing me to do this interview.
Ashanti, I am so proud of you and the work you're doing. It is my honor to be your first interview.
Okay, see, I fangirl. I gotta calm it down. All right, so we are actually doing this interview at the Power Rising Summit, which is about building an agenda for Black women. You kicked us off this morning with the What's at Stake panel. So why was it important for you to be here at Power Rising?
2018 is a critical year for Black women, for America. We have seen in the wake of 2016 how important voting is. But more importantly, we have seen the effectiveness of Black women as the transitional way to move from the horrific results of 2016 towards the promise of 2019. And 2018 is going to be that year. I want Black women to understand that we can set the agenda, that we can make change happen, that we can be the candidates as well as the power behind those candidates, and that this is our year and now is our time.
I love it. And you spoke a lot about voting this morning. You mentioned it now, and that's a great segue into the new Georgia project, which you created. You know, our good friend Jessica Bird, you know, she just did Wakanda the Vote in conjunction with the release of Black Panther. And it reminded me of the work that you do. We see these Black women who are going outside the traditional structures of the party to register communities of color. So what advice would you give to other people who want to do the same work that you have done, that Jessica has done, to make sure that our communities are registered so they can vote for the amazing Black candidates like yourself that are going to be on the ballot?
We have to understand that registration happens every day. Black women have been doing this groundwork for decades. It hasn't been a question of intensity or intentionality, but a question of scale. What I was able to accomplish with the New Georgia Project built on the work that had been done by the People's Agenda and Helen Butler, had been done by other organizations across the country. But what had never been done, at least in recent memory, was being able to get access to the dollars we needed to scale our project. And so in a single year, I was able to raise enough money to register 86,000 people of color, primarily African Americans. And between 2014 and 2016, we reached more than 200,000 people of color registered to vote. But what I want folks to understand is that scale matters, but so does intention. Getting out there, being willing to do the work in your part of the community for the people that you know, especially the ones who don't think anyone's ever going to ask. What made the New Georgia Project so different was that we weren't going to the same communities, those middle class, middle income, or high wealth communities saying, sign up to vote on your way into the grocery store. We were going to rural communities, to poor communities, to families who had never been asked to vote before. Because part of our opportunity as Black women is that we see the communities that are often unseen. We hear the voices that go unheard. And if we are willing to be the leaders to talk to them in mass and in unity, we can transform the trajectory of this country.
That is so true, and that is something that you have done as the minority leader in the House, but it's still very uncommon for us to see women like yourself in that role. We still don't have a lot of women of color who are taking on those positions. So what advice would you give to the other Black state representatives who want to be like Stacey, they want to be leader, but also tell us what have you learned from being in that position?
I'm very grateful. In April, I have a book that's coming out. It's called Minority Leader, How to Lead from the Outside.
We will be profiling that.
Thank you. Well, it's called How to Lead from the Outside and Create Real Change. One of the narratives that I heard so often was that I needed to mimic what others had done, that I needed to behave like the men who preceded me. And one thing that I did very differently was I charted my own path. I did an inventory. What am I good at? Where are the strengths that I have that I don't see reflected in others? And then how do I leverage those to do my job? I'm an introvert, so I didn't try to mimic those who were more, gregarious, but I was able to use that introversion to pay attention to people, to understand what did they need, and then to think through what are my skills to get those things delivered. Every Black woman, every woman needs to do that self-inventory, needs to understand what are your strengths and then how do you leverage those strengths to accomplish your goals. We do not need to reflect the current power structure.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing the best job.
Right.
For what we want, for what we need, we already have it. We just have to learn how to harness it and believe that we have the responsibility to put it out there. And particularly in legislative bodies, if you want to run for governor, make certain that you're learning all of the facets of government right now, that you understand the budget, that you understand the tax policy pieces, but that you also understand the politics, because that is a space where if we want more, we have to believe we deserve more, and we have to start working a lot earlier and a lot harder to get there.
I love it. So Darren Sands with BuzzFeed, he just did a great piece on you a while ago, and he called me because he knew I was a Stacey Abrams fangirl, and he was like, what's so great about her? And I told him, I was like, Darren, when I came to Emerge, one of the things in my mind was I wanted to see more women like Stacey Abrams. I wanted to have a hand in creating more Stacey Abrams, and you are inspiring Black women to run for office, particularly I see young Black women who now get to say they see a Black woman who is running for governor when a lot of people say, it still can't be done. So what advice would you give to those women who are thinking about running, they're almost there, they want to file? What have you learned and what would you tell them about running for office?
I think Nike said it best, just do it. But here's what I mean. We are often stymied not by external forces, but by our own internal doubts. Leadership is about acknowledging those doubts, understanding those fears, but not allowing them to stop us from acting. Because the reality is the other side's going to do what they're going to do.
They are.
The only thing we can do is stand in our truth, hold our principles to be the right ones, and to be willing to be the voices. There's a fear of failure that often stops us from acting. And what I've discovered is failure happens. The question is, do you make it a permanent situation or do you use it to propel you to more? I have not always been successful, but I've never stopped fighting. And the reason I'm standing in this space right now, the reason I'm able to run for governor of Georgia is because I know that I'm relentless, that my capacity is stronger than anyone else running, and that I'm right.
Yes,
that I'm right in my values, that I'm right in my approach, and that there are thousands, if not millions of women who need me to do this because this means they can do it too. And every Black woman should know that about herself. Every brown girl should know that she is standing up for someone who doesn't think that she can stand just yet. And sometimes we have to stand up for others before we stand for ourselves.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for your time, Leader Abrams. You can find out more about her campaign for governor at StaceyAbrams.com. And I hope that you will become a huge fangirl just like I am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.